All right. Welcome, everyone. We're kicking off our afternoon sessions of Pitch Day. Next up, we have Moon Mortgage. If y'all could join me up here.
My name is Nevin. I'm one of the founders of Moon Mortgage.
My name's Tristan Marino. I'm also a founder.
And we're launching a crypto-backed mortgage product. So we make money a couple of ways. We like to think of ourselves as a super sexy fintech, but we're really just a lending company that does origination. So we make money on the upfront points, the origination costs. We make money reselling the loan. We rehypothecate this asset through one of our preferred custodial lenders, all through over-collateralized loans. So we'll make 2 to 10% on the underlying asset, depending on what that is. And then some liquidation and margin fees. We allow you to top off your account if the assets go above 100. And in the example, if they go above 150%, you get a scrape off 25%. And we're really built this to be crypto native. Work with all of the borrowers who have been in the space for a long time, meet them where they need to be met. As we had said, you want to buy $1 million property, you put up $1 million worth of Bitcoin. We take a first position lien against the property itself, and then we have a securitized interest in the crypto assets. We're essentially 200% collateralized. The cool thing about this is it allows us to have some really wild underwriting criteria, right? So even if you don't have a W-2 and you don't have traditional sources of income, we can clear you for owner-occupied loans, we can clear you for investment loans. Your interest rate may vary, but we can ultimately lend to almost anybody who has enough assets. The thing is, we're not really reinventing the wheel here. There have been products that do this type of lending before. It's just we're bringing it to the crypto space.
Tristan and Aaron, welcome. It's great to see you all again.
Great to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Exciting to catch up.
For sure. We first met at Pitch Day in Miami back in April, but have seen you since over in Amsterdam, and it's been fun to kind of hear updates from y'all as they've come. So starting out though, can you kind of just set the stage with what Moon Mortgage is and kind of the product going into Pitch Day, and then we'll kind of touch on the last 9 months.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we went into Pitch Day, we had some decent advisors, but we're definitely at that napkin stage. Since then, we've made a lot of progress. But our core product that we led into was a crypto-backed mortgage product. So our Bitcoin-backed mortgage product. So really, early Bitcoin investors who had gotten into the space, they see the value in Bitcoin as an asset, and they want to obviously maintain their upside while still finding a house they can live in. So we developed a product that would basically allow Bitcoin investors to leverage their Bitcoin without having to sell it, most importantly, to still purchase an investment property or an owner-occupied residence. And since then, it's been about a year now. We are just about ready to launch our core product coming out in March, and are really excited to just kind of share this with the Bitcoin ecosystem. We think it's going to bring a lot of value to all the hodlers out there.
Yeah, that's awesome. And in the last 9 months to a year or so, you have had a few big announcements. A seed funding round raised with some great investors. There's also been kind of a lot of action in the lending market. So maybe kind of the last 9 months, let's touch on that for y'all. At Pitch Day, one of the judges actually referred to y'all as cockroaches, kind of talking about the early stage nature of the business. I always thought of that as kind of a positive way to think about yourselves as a startup as you kind of navigate the different potential pitfalls. But what have been some of the challenges of the last 9 months? What have been some of the kind of takeaways you've had from trends in the broad market?
Sure. I would say one of the biggest, hurdles that we've had to try to overcome, and we're still in the process of overcoming, is a lot of our business is contingent on the traditional finance sphere, and trying to convince people of Bitcoin and its legitimacy has definitely been a little bit harder in the last few months, given how there's been a lot of large institutions that have failed. But we've done a really great job of, telling a strong story and really highlighting the advantages of something that's decentralized and a store of value. And we think it's an amazing use case to leverage Bitcoin instead of, taking an loan against a piece of art or a boat, where Bitcoin is something that trades every single day in billions of dollars of volume. And we think it's a great way for people to leverage an asset that they're holding and they can't get a lot of extra utility out of.
Yeah, absolutely. Referencing a couple of the issues, one other thing that you've announced since pitch day is the custodian that you're working with. Anything to add there on kind of that relationship? No negative news about them so far. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to start, we were always skeptical of a lot of the other collateralized lenders in the space. We read through their terms and conditions early on. We read through their risk policies. There were a lot of red flags that, in a bull market, everyone's kind of willing to look away from. But what attracted us to Anchorage in the first part was, their risk, their approach to risk management. They didn't lose a cent in all of the FTX and BlockFi and Celsius meltdown. They were completely insulated, and that's because of a superior approach to risk management. They're the only federally chartered bank. They're run like a bank. There's no one else we would trust to hold Bitcoin. In addition to that, they have a really incredible bankruptcy remote structure that none of the other custodians utilize.
Only a few.
But what that basically means is that in the event that they go bankrupt, instead of this long, drawn-out bankruptcy hearing, those funds are returned back to the customers. So in our case, the funds we've deposited with Bitcoin would come back to us and can be distributed to the to our clients. And that's a powerful tool that would have been.
No one wants to talk about the downside, but a really great plan is encompassing all fronts, positive and negative. And, because at the end of the day, we're really just trying to serve the consumer. And by serving the consumer, it's planning for every outcome.
Absolutely.
And, serving that consumer, this is something that I'd be interested in. This is something a lot of people in the industry would be interested in using. Can you talk a little bit more about kind of the product roadmap, what we can kind of expect over the next 6 months?
For sure. So we'll be launching the full product in March, as we had mentioned. It's an incredible user experience, super slimmed down. Think of a basic exchange paired with a mortgage application. Super easy to use and manage your Bitcoin. But we also have some really cool products coming in the pipeline, an incredibly novel approach to collateralized lending that we think is going to really disrupt the space. And what that product will do, and we'll be able to use part of that in the mortgage product as well, is give users the ability to manage their own risk in a way that's never been done in the crypto or Bitcoin ecosystem. And in doing so, we think we'll bring a lot of trust back into some centralized parties. So we're very excited for that.
Yeah, I mean, just overall flexibility is paramount. It's a great thing to have. It also kind of takes away from some of the more negative business models that some of our previous competitors have used, which is also a nice thing. We're going to expand to more states where we can offer mortgages as well, because right now we're only able to do Florida, Texas, and Colorado for owner-occupied. And then for investment properties, it's a much bigger state bucket, 30 plus. But we're looking to roll it out. We're just trying not to build our funnel too large before we could really satisfy the customer base that we have currently.
Yeah, makes sense. Can you talk a little bit more about kind of the nuance there of owner-occupied versus investment properties? Just kind of how a customer would think about, how to approach a first loan with y'all?
For sure. So, the basis of an investment property is that you don't live in it, which kind of changes the underwriting criteria. So, for example, if you want to use your Bitcoin to buy an investment property, we can use a wider set of criteria in approving your loan. So we can consider income that comes in from an investment property. So say it's a multifamily, we get to count all of that rent revenue towards your approval basis, basically. Whereas on an owner-occupied side, your approval would be based on the collateral you post, property, and your ability to pay that monthly. So, doing an investment property actually gives you a little bit more flexibility in purchasing real estate. But, we feel pretty strongly that it's important to be able to support those who want to do the owner-occupied route as well. Next to Bitcoin, buying real estate is one of the best ways to accrue generational wealth. So it's been important for us that we can kind of meet the customer demand on both sides.
And just as like a addendum to that these are very standard kind of procedures that happen in just a traditional lending sphere for people that are unfamiliar, living in it, owner occupied versus, an investment property where you're not, they come with different risk parameters for the overall investor. So we're just kind of mimicking what is traditionally done. And one of the great use cases we really see for this product is someone that has a lot of Bitcoin can purchase an investment property leveraging, our product and leverage the cash flow of that investment property to help them subsidize their daily life without having to sell their Bitcoin holdings. And that's really where we see the dream, is leveraging a large pool of assets to acquire another asset that produces cash flow so that you could sustainably create yield without really exposing yourself to large amounts of risk.
Yeah, super interesting, way to think about the opportunity here for, people holding Bitcoin, and that yield term has kind of a negative connotation now, but the way it's applied here makes a lot of sense.
Exactly.
And you touched on kind of the nature of this business and how y'all are plugging Bitcoin holders into this traditional business in a way that's regulated and has been done for a long time, but in a way that really only y'all can do it now with kind of the interest in serving this particular customer base. Has kind of the inner workings of money changed, discussed it at pitch day, or is it kind of stayed the same? What else has kind of changed with the product since the idea phase launch?
The revenue model has mostly stayed the same, except for this exciting addition we're bringing into the mortgage product as well as the collateralized lending product. Can't talk about that yet, but it'll be made public in March, and will again be a total game changer for any Bitcoin investor.
Totally.
Awesome. And then the banks and funds that y'all are working with to provide capital for these mortgages, you mentioned some of those conversations have maybe been a little bit tougher over the last few months. What's kind of the can you talk a little bit more about those partnerships and the message of Bitcoin as collateral that y'all are talking about every day?
Yeah, absolutely. So banks are in a tough spot right now. It's interesting. It's clear they want to play in this space, but from a regulatory perspective, it's really difficult for them too. So what we've ended up doing, we found a bunch of private debt buyers that will work with us to basically fund these loans, and through that approach, we've been able to build out enough of a debt buyer base that will be able to service a wide variety of both investment and owner-occupied properties. So we can't disclose who we're working with, but it's been our approach to basically work with these private, higher net worth individuals who are looking to invest in interesting fixed income opportunities, and our product fits that mold really well for them.
Great. And y'all have both been founders before, and are now maybe kind of tying that interest in being entrepreneurs with an interest in Bitcoin, and kind of moving forward the ability for Bitcoin to be used in more traditional kind of finance ways. Any other learnings from kind of previous entrepreneurial experiences that have helped you along in the last year or so? What has kind of the past experience meant for them and the partnership between you all?
I think, one of the easiest parallels on all entrepreneurial journeys is you have to be selective of who you listen to. And sometimes best about, where a product is headed or where a market is headed. Originally, when we were trying to pitch this idea to investors, many people just told us use Celsius or BlockFi, and why would we use your product? Why would we even compete? And we explained why things were different, and not everyone was receptive to that. And that was just a showcase of something where you can show people facts, and sometimes they just won't believe it, and you have to feel comfortable enough in your idea or your own findings to move forward. That's a very classic startup kind of problem where you may see something that other people don't. The classic Henry Ford quote is, if I asked people for what they would have wanted, they would have said a faster horse.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's some real potential "I told you so" moments. The next time you see all those investors talking about Celsius and others.
Fortunately, we would never rub their noses in that. That's not our style.
Exactly. But you were able to seed funding from some great names. Can you talk a little bit about how you chose those investors to lead that last round? Any other detail you want to share on the fundraising process and kind of where y'all sit now with that?
Yeah, for sure. So CoinFund and Cadenza ended up leading our round. We're super excited to work with both groups. Cadenza actually led the seed round of BlockFi, so they had a lot of experience in the crypto-backed lending space, as well as a broad access and understanding of the larger Bitcoin and crypto ecosystem. Similarly, CoinFund they've been in the space since 2015. They're huge thought leaders. From my opinion, they've been quite influential in building out the larger ecosystem, and have always been able to see ahead of the curve. A crypto-backed mortgage product is pretty far ahead of the curve. So, we were excited to work with investors who, personally had the problem, understood the problem, and believed that our approach to solving it was the right path forward. So these are a group of investors we've been able to work very closely with, have had incredible, honest conversations, and work together on solving really complex problems in both the Bitcoin ecosystem and the traditional financial ecosystem. We were just looking for folks who are excited to solve the same problems. When we entered this space, we were selfishly solving a problem that we had, and that formed a good basis for kind of moving forwards and cherry picking the investors we wanted to work with.
Yeah, very cool. And solving a problem that you have yourself, with the business that you built is definitely kind of the all-in way to do that. Totally. Last time I guess we were in person together was in Amsterdam at Bitcoin Amsterdam conference. It's kind of around the time of your announcement of seed funding investors in Anchorage. How do you kind of view the international market for mortgages compared to the U.S.? Is there anything interesting that obviously very different things? How do you think about the opportunity there?
It's an interesting thing to unpack, just because the United States has done a lot of things over time, but the mortgage real estate market is they have a strong grasp on it compared to a lot of other countries. It is a great wealth creation tool. I would say combining Bitcoin and real estate together is truly the greatest wealth creation tool, even though that sounds self-serving. But in the terms of the international market, the UK is a great example of there's not a lot of fixed term products. A lot of the predominant mortgages in the UK are variable rate products, and that's kind of what's causing a little bit of a problem over there as well. And they also don't have many non-bank lenders. So we're a non-bank lender because we're not a bank. That in the UK, for instance, the majority of the mortgages are all done through banks and not non-bank mortgage companies. The nice thing about being a non-bank is usually you're a lot more nimble. You can do more flexible products. You don't have to play within the 5 checkbox government box. So I think that there's a lot of areas to grow, internationally as well, due to the fact that the mortgage market in almost all other places is not as robust. So especially people that have these kind of unique scenarios of having a lot of crypto or having a lot of Bitcoin, is really a great use case to get funding in a more streamlined, easier way. So I think this product works quite well in some of those areas. Our custodian can work abroad, which is also great. We would have to get, the accompanying licenses to lend in those different jurisdictions. But fundamentally, there's no reason why we couldn't do those areas. And actually, we think it might be an even easier sell due to the fact that the mortgage markets in those international areas are just usually not as strong, even for traditional people.
Yeah,
very interesting.
Yeah, it's a problem that affects everyone the world over. So
yeah,
we like solving those problems.
Solving those problems, and then the line on the best value creation is a nice one. I think you should keep that one in the back pocket too.
Totally.
The and then we're coming into March, where you're going to actually be able to be public with a little bit more public with some of these kind of roadmap items and things that you're going to be launching. Can you provide any more color on kind of state by state what that roadmap looks like, when in Tennessee we'll be able to get a mortgage, or is that kind of part of the next product?
So absolutely. So we'll be launching in Massachusetts, Florida, Texas, Wyoming, Washington, Illinois, New Jersey, California to start. And then we'll soon be rolling out the mortgage product and support for the others. The plan is to be everywhere within a year.
Yeah.
Or so.
The biggest constraint is just a financial constraint. Just you have to post more money per state. You have to apply. It's time. Takes time. Certain states are very quick. Certain states are very long, as you can imagine. So that's something we're actively expanding our geographical reach currently.
But we'll put Tennessee on top of the list. We got you.
Yeah.
There you go. Great answer. So y'all are, kind of this dynamic duo right now. How are you kind of seeing the growth of the team? What are you kind of looking for in terms of talent for people who are interested? Outside of using you as a product? Yeah.
Without critiquing the whole market, we always felt that a lot of these companies got quite bloated in the last bull market. So, we think it's way more impressive to build a $1 billion company with a team of 5 than it is to do it with a team of 10,000. That said, we are growing. We'll be going out and doing our Series A soon, and we'll be bringing on a traditional chief compliance officer, obviously a head of marketing, a head of people, to really be able to service our customers and make sure we can safeguard their assets like they deserve to be safeguarded. But we plan to grow at a pace that makes sense for the demand. So if we need to scale up quickly to support the demand, we'll certainly be able to do that. We have all the right people behind us to be able to do that pretty quickly. But, we just want to build a real business that makes sense, and that's here to last. We're not here to boom and bust in a couple of years.
Most definitely. And, we're really leveraging a lot of network of our consultants right now to do our different facets of work. So it's been very easy to scale people up, scale people down, and kind of work in a very dynamic environment, especially as everybody knows in crypto. In the last 6 months, it's been a very eventful time. So it's been great to really have the flexibility of scaling things up, scaling things down. And we currently have 1 full-time employee in addition to us. So it's a little bit of a dynamic trio. But after we go for our next funding round, we're going to really be able to prove our theses when we came out to raise originally. Our assumptions are correct. The business model works. And then it's a question of scaling from there. And then that's where, we need a little bit more help.
Yeah, makes sense. And certainly seems that that's kind of been the smart way to approach it so far. So props for that. And then props for, the ability to get back in front of some of those investors who are maybe turning you down 6 months ago ahead of the Series A and have those kind of like gotcha conversations, or I told you so conversations. Any people who are watching may be interested in your Series A. Anything else you want to provide there? The kind of the institutional type partners, people with certain experience that you're looking to be involved. Do you want to go into any more detail on that, or?
Yes. The business we're building is disruptive, and the total addressable market is massive. Without getting into hard numbers, we're solving a lot of complicated problems that could be lucrative to people who really have these problems. I know this is a little soft of an answer, but we're interested in working with individuals from the traditional financial sector as well as the larger Bitcoin ecosystem. We really see this as a product that will help bridge the two worlds. And so to that extent, we're interested in working with folks on sort of both sides of the aisle. And we plan to build a lot of this team from those who have traditional financial sector experience, especially the chief compliance officer, our head of risk management. We want to pull those people from the traditional sector. We're approaching this build as we would any highly regulated institutional play, basically.
I think a good addition to that is essentially creating something that is compliant and it's centralized. It's expensive. Between getting all the licenses, laying the foundations before you could really even put out $1 into market, there's a tremendous amount of money that needs to get spent just to build the foundation. And we've done a really good job so far, leveraging what we have, but going into the next stage of getting, more jurisdictions opening geography, having more flexibility in product usage with different kind of licensing. It's definitely a cost-intensive groundwork to set, but after that, the scalability is quite large.
But we're doing it the right way. That's always been our approach. We've been building a long time. We've been building slowly, but I'm proud to say we haven't made any big mistakes.
And quietly.
But folks who understand the merit of building a company the right way, we'd love to chat with them.
Awesome. Such a massive market, and it's great to have seen y'all build the right way. And the quiet piece is kind of an underrated aspect of how you've approached it.
It is
definitely has been a good move so far. Any kind of final comments? Anything else you'd like to share?
Super excited to see you all in Miami for the upcoming conference.
Can't wait.
Yeah, you guys have always been huge supporters of us. We're excited to be able to return the favor and show up and support you all however we can as well. So just looking forward to what comes next.
We'll be at the conference. We'll have a booth, and hopefully we'll have some more good news to show in May.
Yeah, come see us.
Awesome. Love it. Well, Tristan, Aaron, thank you, and look forward to seeing you in Miami.
Thanks, John. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, John.